Okay, so today the topic I'm going to talk about is like client-based access control, which we have entered the security. So we have seen role-based access control, attribute-based access control. The next type we have is like client-based access control. Why we are going for client-based access control? That is what we are going to see. So we know in our application we store the personal information of the user. So if we talk about the banking application, we store customer information like customer name, phone number, and address, SSN number, account number, everything we store in our application. And we do have the personal identifier. So personal identifier is nothing but the customer ID. We call it as a personal identifier. So if we get a request to update the data of the customer, so in that case only we are going for the client based access control. So it's not only for update. If customer want to view the personal information, or he want to update it, or if he wish to delete it, so during that time only we are going for the client based access control. So now I'm going to show you how we can create it. So I'll just create one. So I'll just open and explain one first. So if I open this, so we see the customer ID, PX customer ID. This is what we call it as a identifier. So the personal identifier. So we have to add our personal identifier and the name. So this name field is going to be you knew this because we are not going to show this. You see here PX description. So even though the property name we have it as a PX description, but the external label name should be the proper one. If we talk about primary phone number, then the label name should be primary phone. If it is PY home phone number, the name should be the external label name should be home phone. So this is how we have our external label, and you see next to that this pencil or pen icon you're seeing, right? This is optional field. It's just a description of our the external label. You can give whatever you want. And next to that we have an option for rectify is nothing but alter, update. So anything we can have, like if customer want to rectify the customer ID, mean update the customer ID, edit the customer ID, then we check this. But usually customer ID can't be edited, right? So that is why we are not providing this option. So erase it means delete it. So so this is kind of deleting. So this is how we even for the description, you see, if we are allowing them to edit it, we check this, and if they can completely remove it, we can check the second one. So this is how we provide access. And next to that, you see the custom settings. The read access will be done based on this activity which we are writing here, and the rectify access or edit access will be done based on this rule, and the delete will be done based on this rule. So this we will be achieving. We know these options are going to be kind of the DB hit. So what are the types of DB hit we have? We can use RDB rules. RDB, using RDB we can write some SQL queries to achieve this, or we can go with the data set. Using data set we can hit DB, right? So using data set we can do, otherwise data flow. So these three options we have. So we will see how they have achieved it. First I'll open the access one. We see they have used data set. So the browse data set, because it's kind of view, right? So they have used browse data set to browse the data. So they are using this to browse the data, customer ID, and so event result they are copying. result, where we are getting result event. Scroll up. The customer ID we are saving into look builder, the group ID, event type, and capture time date. And from lookup builder dot build, this will be in lookup. And what is this? Result type is equal to, this is browse dot read by key. Okay, this data, this all those things we will be sending from here. We go on set check. Here we are passing the subject ID. So subject ID is the key for this DB. So in the subject ID we are passing for the customer ID field. And when I open this, so before calling this role, what step we have? Okay, success, and the data set name is px event store, and the class name is, this is what we call, okay, I'll just open this data set name. So this data set will do, okay, these all are the key customer ID event, okay, and this is in summary class. Okay, next we are creating one page, and we have some parse rule here. So this is going to be field format of CSV build value list. Okay, so this is py selected event types. Fine. Okay, so local dot event list we are sending. Based on that event list we are forming this value list in the property, and then validate or set a default value for the parameters. So we are taking the customer ID we received and the group ID. So customer ID is 0 and group ID is 0. Then we are throwing exception that at least one customer ID or group ID needs to be passed. If it is not null, then both customer ID and cannot be specified as a even stored queries. So we are expecting only one. So both should not be there. Okay. And the next step, event result, my step page, and we are taking the px results. Data, create the page, data summary, and event result. We are taking the px results, and we are doing error message. Okay, this is for setting the error message. In the next step, it's kind of validation. Sixth step is validation. Start time and the is not null and the success is true. Okay, the time format invalid. Okay, time check we are doing invalid format. This is for time check. And the next one, when the it is success, what we are doing, data set name, data set class name, and the selected events. We formed one list, right? So everything we are taking, and the data set we are setting the data set name, and in the browse browse by key operation. Okay, so we are passing browse is equal to dataset browse by key operation. So browse by key operation, we are passing this. So based on this key, the operation will be done, and in the result, array list we are creating on clipboard page, and the selected events, py selected events type we are getting and we are storing here. If the selected event is equal to 0, then event page and property dot size, then selected events dot add get property px results get value. Okay, selected events, and we are type we are storing here, and then under lookup builder we are passing our customer id with the group id and the event capture time. All this value we are passing is equal to null. In the collection we are sending the result, and in the result clipboard time iterator. Result. Okay, based on the parameters we are calling the data set, and the data set result we are storing here, and in the last we are returning the result. Okay, fine. So this is completely browsing the data based on the key we are passing, and it will return the data. That is what we are doing here. So the next one is rectify. It is kind of update. We'll see how they are updating it. So what is the input we are taking? The identity client identifier page dot px results, and we are passing the py value to the subject id whenever the identifier is not null, and subject id is not null, then we are calling the px browse dataset subject id, and this is also request data. Why we have request data here? Ideally it should be, so even this is request data where we are updating. So the page include a raw result param dot can delete subject id. Create and loop keys on respective browse operation. This will be the result where we are updating it. Okay, so ideally we will be updating it. This one will be for the delete operation. So we would have written the delete here. See the delete by delete key. So based on the delete we are deleting. I just want to see where we have update operation here. So this is for validate set value for the parameters. Validate set value for the parameters. Lookup and key ideally it should be here only where we have the update operation. This is for the browse key operation we have. I don't see update here. Maybe for testing they would have referred it. Fine. So this is how we do. So we write a rule, and based on this rule we access, we update, and we delete it. So I can close this now and we can go for some other rule and we'll see how they have written the same thing. These properties they want to erase it, and even I see these two only because we are not giving access for update. Okay, fine, we are not giving access for update, that is why they didn't provide this even here to see. So I'll show you how we can do. I'll just create one rule. So first we are going to create the configuration rule. This is going to be update contact. I'm gonna select my FSG data contact. Create and open. Now I'm gonna add the identifier in here. In this rule, reference is my identifier, and I'm gonna call it as reference. And the next one, the property I want to modify is phone number, primary phone number, and I call it as phone number. I have already mentioned this is optional. If you want, you can mention. And here I'm gonna give primary phone number. That's it. So I'm gonna give erase, update access and erase access. So if you wanna delete, you can just click on this delete button to delete, and you can add n number of properties over here. I'm just deleting it. And next I go here and give the access. So we have to create one activity here, so that activity will be used to access the data, that is the browse condition we have seen, right? Like that you have to create one activity. In that activity you can use rdb method, or data set or data flow to read the data, and this is for updating. So updating is same. Out of these three you can use any type to rectify the data, and eraser is same. So you can use any rule to delete the data. So once we mention this three rule, and just go back to the identifier mapping. So here our identifier is reference. In some cases what happens is, like, this reference we might be having in some other table also. For example, in our case, I see this reference number will be in contact hotel. So if you want to create association, then what we will do, we just provide the page of that particular class, and based on that class you can do the association here. So you see there is no, okay, global ID we have. Yeah, I think this will be fine. Even the global ID and reference ID is same only. So here what I will do, I'll just go here and copy this hotel. I'll keep something like this, and I'll provide this name as hotel, and here I go, and the mapping I'll do as hotel dot PYID GUID. So this external label I'm gonna give as a reference. So this is how we create association. Now we'll just do save. What it is telling, policy is not defined on your class reference in the association. Okay, we didn't provide the association, so that is why it is not letting me to save it. I can go and address, for sure we will be having for address, address QR. Yeah, I have reference here. Let me try to refer address. External mapping will provide us this should be address. I'll provide address note the reference. I'll just do whether the association okay. Even for this property, association is not there. When we have association, we have to map the property like this only. The identifier has to be mapped with that associated class. Since I don't have association here, it is not accepting. I'll just remove here. I'll just go and save it. So this is how we create the a client-based access control. So we have seen what is the use for this as well. So